Tonight at 5, a group that supports Wisconsin's deaf and blind population is set to lose federal funding. Their efforts to keep programming going and how widespread the cuts will be felt.
And Madison police are searching for a burglary suspect, how much they got away with and what to be on the lookout for.
And then the Packers suffered a big loss this weekend. Sorry to remind you about that. Our Packers senior writer breaks down what went wrong.
And earlier this month, the State Department of Public Instruction announced the Department of Education would be ending funding for the Wisconsin Deaf-Blind Technical Assistance Project.
Our Jalen Banks sat down with two parents whose children will be impacted if the program loses federal funding. Jalen, what did they share with you?
Susan and Sarah, one parent described the news of losing this program as a gut punch, but they are still fighting to keep the project alive.
The Wisconsin Deaf-Blind Technical Assistance Project provides assistance to families with children that are deaf-blind and face other challenges. WDBTAP serves 170 students from birth to the age of 21. 85% of them have 4 or more disabilities. I had the chance to speak with two parents whose children rely on the funding.
So our daughter, we knew was deaf when she was born, and so she was literally born without ears. And we didn't know about her vision problems until she was about 6 to 9 months, and we really started seeing that she wasn't focusing.
Part of the program provides services so deaf-blind students' needs are met in the classroom, lends equipment to families so they don't have to buy expensive equipment outright, and also provides sign language learning opportunities for families, among other things.
Community and group and just the knowledge base there of trying to work with a special needs kid that's deaf and blind. It's very specific, and so there's some unique challenges, and this group has really helped connect us with people and do stuff there, and they've been a huge support for our school district, and then like our speech therapist, OT, and like everybody there.
The U.S. Department of Education stated the reason why the program is losing funding is because it, quote, reflects the prior administration's priorities and policy preferences and conflict with those of the current administration. The program is set to end at the end of the month. In a statement released by State Superintendent Dr. Jill Underley, she says, these are kids who depend on specialized support just to access their guaranteed right to a free and appropriate public education. She goes on saying, losing these dollars at this point in the year will be devastating for the kids who need these supports the most.
Now, individuals have started a petition to keep the funding going. You can find a link to that on our website.
All right, thank you so much, Jalen. In other news, construction on a homeless shelter on Madison's east side is expected to be done in early 2026. But today, the mayor said the shelter still needs millions to fully function. Today at the construction site, Mayor Satya Rose Conway toured the nearly completed building. She addressed the shelter's potential as well as the hope that it will become the first 24/7, 365 days a year homeless facility in Madison.
We must unlock that potential. That means coming up with more than $4 million that it will take to operate this shelter 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
And the mayor emphasized that private sectors join her in helping provide to this community to members in need.
Now let's get a look at your forecast. It's the first day of fall today, and a lot of people still have their AC on, which feels unusual.
Yeah.
There's a few storms out on the radar. Blaze?
That's right. Mainly moving through parts of Crawford County, beginning to slide over the Wisconsin River into now northern parts of Grant County. And it looks like we're just getting a report out of the Crawford County Emergency Management that a couple buildings have had their roof partially or completely blown off with this storm. That was one severe thunderstorm warned. So we'll take it into this storm as it begins to move more into Boscobel, out of Haney right now, again, just to the north of Wazeeka and beginning to cross the Wisconsin River. This was previously severe warned. We've had some strong winds. We've got reports of some storm damage. We also had a report or a tag that there could be a possible tornado, as previously back at about 4, this was exhibiting a very classic super supercell look. But if we look at it now, we've lost that hook echo. This is certainly more linear. We're not seeing that inflow, giving that storm that little bit of rotation, which is some great news. We've also seen a lot of that lightning strikes coming down. So maybe the storm is weakening just a bit. Heavy rain from Blue River all the way back west into Eastman. We also find some more rain up north into northern parts of Crawford County, Freeman, Fairview, into Soldiers Grove as well. We'll take a look if there's any hail left with this storm, and we'll of course take a look at that rotation just to really show you that it has truly weakened over Marinette as well. As well as Steuben. That's where we're getting about a half an inch in diameter hail being reported there in that light blue, possibly some small hailstones falling in the Boscobel area too. Let's take a look at wind tracker. And again, I'm not seeing the bright reds or the greens coming together. That is some great news. And I'll take it back to about 12:15. This is when, again, we had that hook echo. We had a little bit more of that more organized rotation. But again, that has since fallen apart. However, we are still underneath that severe threat this afternoon. A marginal risk for severe thunderstorms for anybody in the green. Right now, it's primarily off into western and especially southwestern parts of Wisconsin. All severe weather threats are going to be possible. That does include an isolated tornado threat for anybody there in the green. This has been shared on our Facebook page, so you can share that with your friends and family for folks in the green to be prepared in case a tornado warning is issued. But really, we're looking at a strong wind, large hail, and heavy rain threat as we go further into the evening and into the early overnight hours. We'll take a look at future track and any other rain chances expected this week in the full forecast.
All right, Blaze, thank you. It turns out the Walt Disney Company will continue to air the Jimmy Kimmel Late Night Show on ABC after all. The company announced the suspension last week after comments Kimmel made following the assassination of Charlie Kirk. In a statement released today, Disney says Kimmel will be back in his regular time slot tomorrow night. Kimmel's suspension and subsequent comments from the FCC chairman sparked a free speech debate nationwide. That included protests by TV writers and producers, including a rally earlier today in front of the Los Angeles theater where Kimmel tapes his show.
In another announcement today, President Donald Trump says the FDA will be notifying physicians that taking acetaminophen or Tylenol during pregnancy can be associated with an increased risk of autism.
He urged women to limit Tylenol use unless medically necessary, such as for a fever. However, experts caution that autism has many causes and the link to acetaminophen is not scientifically proven. Tylenol is widely considered the safest over-the-counter pain reliever for pregnant women.
So this idea that there's a cause, this idea that there's a cure, autism is a developmental disorder.
Tylenol maker Kenvue stressed that women should consult their doctor before taking any medication, noting there is no credible evidence connecting acetaminophen to autism. Our Arman Rahman has more from parents of autistic children and the Society of South Central Wisconsin, and that's coming up tonight at 6.
And happening tonight, police have released the picture here on your screen of a burglary suspect they need help identifying. Officers say the man stole a car along with several items from a garage near High Crossing Park on Madison's east side. The homeowner says they received a ride from the suspect after being out downtown. But after they were dropped off, the suspect was able to get into the homeowner's garage and steal their vehicle along with other property. If you recognize the man in these photos at all, you are urged to please call Madison Police.
The number of fall-related emergency service calls in Wisconsin has gone up by 10,000 from 2023 to last year. In total, EMS responded to 140,000 calls, or 21% of all ambulance runs. This week is Fall Prevention Week, and the Wisconsin Department of Health Services is recommending caregivers, residents, and partner agencies to take steps to reduce the risk of falling. They include improving lighting, reducing clutter, and making commonly used items more accessible.
Well, we have another excellent update in our Coats for Kids campaign. Check it out. We've entered the third week in the collection. We are at 1,490 coats. Thank you to everyone who has donated. But we do have a ways to go to reach our final goal of 5,000. All sizes of winter coats are needed, especially though right now infant, toddler, and larger teen sizes. You have until October 4th to get those coats to any Clinky Cleaners in Dane County. And don't forget, we also accept snow pants, snow suits, hats, scarves, gloves, mittens, all those accessories. And you can log on to channel3000.com Coats for Kids for additional ways to donate as well.
2 more weeks. Thank you, everybody, for all your help, as Sarah said. As the temperatures dip down, we talk about some returning October traditions and activities in the area.
Plus, it is officially the first day of fall. As we said, it's hard to believe, have to keep mentioning it. How vibrant will the leaves get this year, and what the weather will look like in these very first few days?
And we're learning more about a case in Milwaukee where children were found locked in a storage unit. It turns out there is a lot more to this story than first appeared.
Plus, the Packers had the Browns game wrapped up until the last 4 minutes. Our senior Packers writer Jason Wilde has more on why that happened in those final minutes of the game.
On Wall Street today, the Dow closed up 66 points. The Nasdaq gained 157, and the S&P 500 closed up nearly 30. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Welcome back, everyone. Oh, it was a painful part of my afternoon.
Yep.
The Green Bay Packers fell 13-10 to the winless Cleveland Browns on Sunday, marking their first loss of the season.
Yeah, it hurt. It really did. Coach Matt LaFleur highlighted mistakes in penalties, special teams, and the running game as areas needing improvement. Here's Jason Wilde.
Don't get Matt LaFleur wrong. The Packers head coach not happy at all that his team went to Cleveland and against a winless Browns team came back with its first loss of the season, 13-10 on Sunday. But the coach also sees a lot of teachable moments. And as he and his players went through the film from the loss, he said they had to be honest about what the film said. And what the film said was that as good of a team as this team is capable of being, it clearly was too bad when it came to penalties, its special teams, its inability to run the football. So there's a lot of work to do as they turn their attention this week to the Dallas Cowboys and their primetime Sunday night matchup with that team. Now, Matt LaFleur also said that Zach Tom did not do any further damage to his oblique injury, which lasted all of one play before he had to come out of the game, and that Tucker Kraft, who had that injury scare with his knee during the week and ended up playing anyway, came out just fine and feels good. So that's the good news from Lambeau Field. We'll have the good, the bad, and the ugly on channel3000.com for free. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for our Packers newsletter, which brings you our daily Packers coverage directly to your inbox. In Green Bay at Lambeau Field, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
Thanks so much, Jason. And in other football news, it is week 3 of the Wisconsin Huddle already, and you could be a part of this week's show. Tonight, Badger safety Austin Brown is our guest as the Badgers head into their bye week. Taping begins at 7 p.m. This is tonight over at Jay's Bar on Francis Street downtown. And we hope to see you there.
Well, fall is finally here, although the weather may not feel like it depending on where you are. The official first day of fall is today, which is the autumnal equinox. Night and day are the same length during the equinox. It happens twice a year, once in the spring and once in the autumn. So when do we get to see that fall foliage? Well, this week we'll see patchy to partial color in southern Wisconsin with peak colors fully in effect in about 3 to 4 weeks from now. Nearly all of the lower 48 should have leaves changing by October 27th, just in time for Halloween.
My favorite time of year.
Me too.
And it'll always freeze on Halloween too.
Yeah, right.
We're headed to the forecast now. We have some weather, some severe stuff, or potentially in the radar there, right, Blaze?
That's right. We are continuing to track some showers and thunderstorms, mainly out in parts of Crawford and now Grant counties. But a quick look at where we kind of see the statistically and climatologically speaking, the start of fall shaping up to be. Average highs right around 68 degrees. If we look at all the hottest highs and all the coldest highs over the years. Nowhere near that 92 set back in 2017, and certainly nowhere near that balmy 43 set back in 1942. Only trace amounts of snow have been recorded on the start of fall, but we have in some of the years past, seen some pretty decent rain back in 2024 to mark our rainiest start to fall. And we're continuing to deal with some rain as we go through now this year's start of fall. We find a marginal risk for severe weather, so an isolated chance for severe thunderstorms through the rest of this evening into the early overnight hours. All severe weather threats are going to be possible. That does include mainly strong winds as well as large hail, but we can't rule out an isolated weak tornado, especially off towards the La Crosse area into Richland, Crawford, Vernon counties as well. This is where a once severe thunderstorm that had a tornado possible tag has pretty much petered out. It's very slow moving at this moment. We're seeing more of a line and not necessarily more of that discrete supercell structure. So that is some good news. Crawford County Emergency Management has noted that in the Mount Sterling area, there was some damage to some roofs of this from this previous severe warned storm. We're going to continue to watch as maybe some of that activity out west moves its way further east as we go further into the evening hours. But with that morning activity this morning, we may have not made the atmosphere unstable enough to support the severe chance. Maybe a shower or two, and an isolated thunderstorm can't be ruled out. But certainly further to the south and west, the atmosphere is just a little bit better for not only showers and thunderstorms, but maybe that severe weather as well. But of course, stay with News 3 Now. We'll keep you updated as that severe weather chance, or at least the thunderstorm chance, will stick around into the early overnight. We're looking at 50s and 60s to end Monday before we climb back into those 70s on Tuesday. Tuesday, an isolated shower or two can't be ruled out, as that's going to be mainly off towards the east. We're looking at mostly cloudy to partly sunny conditions at times. Wednesday, it's looking more dry than wet. We're still continuing to watch a low pressure system move out of the plains, but it's moving more east, so it's going to pull a lot of that moisture with it. So we may skip out on some of that heavier rain chances Wednesday night into Thursday, and by Thursday we do look to dry out a little bit more as a high pressure system moves on in. So I would say from here on out, the rain chances are going to become more minimal, and from here on out, we're probably going to say goodbye to that thunderstorm chance as well. 70s, low 70s through Thursday, then we're back into the upper 70s to low 80s for the first weekend of fall. Plenty of sunshine, and we'll cool off a little bit, hanging out underneath dry conditions for the following work week.
Looks beautiful. Thank you, Blaze. Back in the news now, the True North Music and Food Festival is coming to the Duck Pond later this month. This Saturday, the festival will feature some of Madison's best chefs and emerging regional music. Madison Magazine is a proud sponsor of the event. And tickets can be found at truenorthfest.com. Prices start at $15. $2 from each ticket sold will benefit Domestic Abuse Intervention Services and the Dane County Food Collective.
Well, after a threat of violence at a Wisconsin school, one school district is implementing a new clear backpack rule. We'll tell you where and how effective it is so far.
And an American has finally won a world-famous cheese contest in France. What this winning cheese was and how it opens the door for other cheesemakers.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
A new safety policy is in effect at Green Bay schools. Clear backpacks are now required for students grades 6 through 12. This comes after an incident at Preble High School earlier this month, where a student brought a loaded gun and ammunition into the school. A Green Bay school spokesperson says the new policy went smoothly, with most students having a clear backpack and those without one were given one. The district also says it's increasing its punishments for involvements in fights, bringing a weapon to school, or assaults. In Milwaukee, parents Charles Dupriest and Aya Zielinski were arrested after authorities found their 6 children ages 2 months to 9 years locked in a storage unit under deplorable conditions.
Reporter Kendall Keys tells us about the conditions they were found in and a possible reason why.
Mother Asia Zielinski appearing in court incredibly emotional, crying, and father Charles Dupriest also in court. The couple facing multiple felonies, including child neglect. In the criminal complaint, photos of where the 6 children, including a baby just 2 months old, were living. A twin mattress without any bed sheets and a beat-up sofa. Investigators also photographed a bucket they say was used as a toilet by the children, the only light from the crack of the garage door. Investigators found the parents sleeping in a Ford Expedition in the parking lot with their dog. One of the children told police she was upset the dog got to sleep in the car while she and her siblings slept in the unit.
The middle row was completely empty, and the dog had the back row all to himself as these children slept in a locked storage container with one twin mattress on the floor. This is horrific. Ma'am, I see you are broken up. I hope you realize how lucky you actually are that none of these children have died.
Investigators say the family was receiving assistance, food stamps, and $2,000 a month in Social Security benefits. The mom told investigators they had been kicked out of Joy House, which is a shelter for women and children. And the Milwaukee Rescue Mission did confirm they were giving that family assistance, but said they had verified they had permanent housing before they left the shelter in July. Now, both of those parents remain in jail tonight.
Tough situation. We'll have a final check on the weather when we come back.
A battle over animal testing. Our Eye in America takes you inside the debate.
And meet the new astronaut candidates. For the first time, women outnumber men. And one of them could be the first person on Mars. That's tonight on the CBS Evening News.
And coming up tonight at 6, legislators are looking to close a loophole that allows the sale of marijuana-like products. What that means for shop owners and Wisconsinites.
And Blaze is here with a final check of the forecast. Maybe a little more rain tonight?
A little bit. Right now it's off towards Grant and Crawford counties, beginning to move into Richland and northwestern parts of Iowa County. Nothing severe at the moment, but still some heavy rain, some strong wind gusts, as well as some small hail may be possible. Of course, if any severe thunderstorm warnings or, say, a tornado warning were to be issued, we'll, of course, let you know throughout the rest of this evening, as that's when we're likely going to continue to see that severe weather threat. Shower activity Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then we dry out and warm back up into the 80s for the first weekend of fall.
Sarah brought the warm weather from Arizona back with her.
I know. I'm like, I didn't really need to go away, right? Beautiful. I'll take it.
Well, thanks for watching, everybody. The CBS Evening News is coming up next.
And we'll be back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6. You can always find us streaming as well, 24/7 on Channel 3000+.